For generations, the story of Atlantis has been categorized as a philosophical allegory. The standard historical view is that Plato invented the island empire to serve as a cautionary tale about the consequences of human hubris. Yet, modern satellite imagery reveals a massive structural anomaly in the middle of the Mauritanian desert. Known as the Richat Structure, it sits like a giant bullseye carved directly into the Sahara. While geological consensus describes this as a natural dome formed by volcanic uplift, its symmetry and concentric rings present a visual profile that is difficult to reconcile with typical erosion patterns. If we move the search for the lost city out of the Atlantic Ocean and onto the African continent, the physical features of this site begin to align with the ancient descriptions in a way that the deep sea never has. By auditing this Saharan structure against ancient mathematical records, we find a series of geographical correlations that challenge our current understanding of West African history. Plato's dialogues provided a specific layout for Atlantis, a city organized into 3 rings of water and 2 of land. When this layout is placed over the satellite coordinates of the Richat structure, the physical rings align perfectly with the text. The text also specified a scale. Plato recorded the city's outer ring measured 127 stadia across. Converting 127 stadia to modern metrics gives us a 23.5-kilometer diameter, the exact measurement of the Richat's central rings. Beyond the internal dimensions, the site had to meet specific topographical requirements, including a protective mountain range to the north. The modern topography of Mauritania shows exactly that, a large mountain ridge flanking the northern side of the Eye of the Sahara. Finally, the text describes a southern opening leading into a vast plain connected to the sea. The terrain here steps down toward the coast, matching that ancient description. This combination of precise geometry, identical scale, and matching topography suggests the Richat structure is not a random formation, but a physical blueprint of a specific historical site. The primary argument against this location is its current environment. The Richat structure is isolated in the world's most famous desert, far from the maritime excess described in the legend. However, the Sahara has not always been a sea of sand. Geological records show the region was once covered by the Tethys Ocean and later featured a lush network of tropical rivers. The ground inside the Richat rings supports this aquatic history. Thousands of marine fossils and shark teeth have been found across the region, miles from the nearest coastline. Even more notable are the remains of large marine mammals, like these whale skeletons, which have been discovered resting directly in the arid desert terrain. Topographical scarring on the outer rocks indicates a massive, high-velocity movement of water that moved across the continent, carving the bedrock as it drained into the Atlantic. The evidence suggests the area was subjected to a sudden, high-energy event that effectively buried the site's history under the encroaching desert sands. Despite these mathematical and geological indicators, there is a notable lack of large-scale archaeological excavation within the Richat structure. While massive funding is routinely allocated to search for artifacts in Mediterranean waters, this Saharan site has been largely left out of institutional research budgets. Official explanations for this focus on the logistical difficulty, citing the remote location and high costs as the primary barriers to exploration. If a complex society existed here thousands of years before records allow, the standard model of civilization requires a significant reevaluation. Instead of a steady climb toward the present, the physical reality suggests human progress is highly vulnerable to major environmental disruptions. By focusing only on established archaeological zones, we risk overlooking the physical evidence left in the margins of our maps. The circles left in the Saharan sand serve as a reminder that the timeline of human history may not be a permanent record, but a repeating cycle that can be reset by the planet itself.